Yes, we can, Prabhuji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Today's reciters are Ansuya Mataji in Sanskrit and Purata Sundar Prabhu in English from Canto 3, Chapter 23, verses 1 to 15. Ansuya Mataji, when you're ready, please start with the invocation. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Text 1. Maitreya Uvacha Pitrabhyam prasthite sadhvi patim ingita kovida nityam paryacharat pritya bhavani va bhavam prabhum.
Maitreya continued. After the departure of her parents, the chaste woman Devahuti, who could understand the desires of her husband, served him constantly with great love, as Bhavani, the wife of Lord Shiva, serves her husband.
Text 2. Vishrambhenatma sochena gauravena damena cha Shushrusaya sohridana vacha vacha madhuraya cha boho.
O Vidura, Devahuti served her husband with intimacy and great respect, with control of senses, with love, and with sweet words.
Text 3. Vishrijya kamam dambham cha dvesham lobham agham madam apramatto data nityam tejiyam sam atosayat.
Working sanely and diligently, she pleased her very powerful husband, giving up all lust, pride, envy, greed, sinful activities, and vanity.
Text 4 and 5. Savai devarsivaryastam manavim samanuvratam daivat garya saha patyur asasanam mahasisaha kalena bhuyasa kshamam karsitam vratacharyaya prema gadgadaya vacha piditaha kripaya bravit.
The daughter of Manu, who was fully devoted to her husband, looked upon him as greater even than Providence. Thus she expected great blessings from him. Having served him for a long time, she grew weak and emaciated due to her religious observances. Seeing her condition, Kardama, the foremost of celestial sages, was overcome with compassion and spoke to her in a voice choked with great love.
Text 6. Kardama uvacha tushtoham adyatava manavi manadyayaha Shushrusaya paramaya paraya cha bhaktya yotehi nam ayam ativya suhrit sadeho naveksitah samuchitah shapitum mad arthe.
Kardama Muni said, O respectful daughter of Swayambhuva Manu, today I am very much pleased with you for your great devotion and most excellent loving service. Since the body is so dear to embodied beings, I am astonished that you have neglected your own body to use it on my behalf.
Text 7. Ye me swadharma niratasya tapaha samadhi Vidyatma yoga vijita bhagavat prasadaha tan eva te mad anusevanaya varuddhan दृष्टिं प्रपश्य वितरामि अभयन् अशोकान्.
Kardama Muni continued, I have achieved the blessings of the Lord in discharging my own religious life of austerity, meditation, and Krishna consciousness. Although you have not yet experienced these achievements, which are free from fear and lamentation, I shall offer them all to you because you are engaged in my service. Now just look at them. I am giving you the transcendental vision to see how nice they are.
Text 8. Anye punar bhagavato bhruva udvindra vibramsitaratha rachana kim urukramasya siddhasi bhungshva vibhavan nija dharma dohan divya narar duradhigan ripavikriyabhihi.
Kardama Muni continued, what is the use of enjoyments other than the Lord's grace? All material achievements are subject to be annihilated simply by a movement of the eyebrows of Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By your principles of devotion to your husband, you have achieved and can enjoy transcendental gifts, very rarely obtained by persons proud of aristocracy and material possessions.
Text 9. Ivam bruvanam abalakhila yogamaya vidya vichaksanam avikshagatathirasit samprasraya pranaya vivalaya chiresat vridavaloka vilasadhasitananaha.
Upon hearing the speaking of her husband, who excelled in knowledge of all kinds of transcendental science, innocent Devahuti was very satisfied, her smiling face shining with a slightly bashful glance. She spoke in a choked voice because of great humility and love.
Devahutiruvacha Radham bata dvijavarsaitad amogha yoga mayadhipe tvai vibhotat avaimi parhataha yaste bhadyai samaya shakradango sango bhuyat garyasi gunaha prasavaha satinam.
Sri Devahuti said, my dear husband, O best of Brahmanas, I know that you have achieved perfection and are the master of all the infallible mystic powers, because you are under the protection of Yogamaya, the transcendental nature. But you once made a promise that our bodily union should now fulfill, since children are a great quality for a chaste woman who has a glorious husband.
Text 11. Tatreti krityam upasiksha yathopadesam yenaisa me karsito tiriram sayatma siddhyeta te krita manobhavad dharsitaya dinastad isa bhavanam satrasam vichakshva.
Devahuti continued, my dear Lord, I am struck by excited emotion for you. Therefore, kindly make what arrangements must be made according to the scriptures so that my skinny body, emaciated through unsatisfied passion, may be rendered fit for you. Also, my Lord, please think of a suitable house for this purpose.
Text 12. Maitreya uvacha priyaya priyam anvichan kardamo yogam astitaha vimanam kamagam kshatastaryevyarivachakrit karat.
Maitreya continued, O Vidura, seeking to please his beloved wife, the sage Kardama exercised his yogic power and instantly produced an aerial mansion that could travel at his will.
Text 13. Sarvakama dugham divyam sarvaratna samanvitam sarvardhya upacha yodarkam mani stambhar upaskritam.
It was a wonderful structure bedecked with all sorts of jewels, adorned with pillars of precious stones and capable of yielding whatever one desired. It was equipped with every form of furniture and wealth, which tended to increase in the course of time.
Text 14 and 15. Divyopakarana petam sarvakala sukhavaham pattikabhihi patakabhir vichitrabhir alankritam स्रग्भिर्विचित्रमाल्यभिर्मञ्जुषिञ्जत् अङ्घ्रिभिः दुकुलक्षौमा कौशैर्नानावस्त्रैर्विराजिताम्.
The castle was fully equipped with all necessary paraphernalia, and it was pleasing in all seasons. It was decorated all around with flags, festoons, and artistic work of variegated colors. It was further embellished with wreaths of charming flowers that attracted sweetly humming bees, and with tapestries of linen, silk, and various other fabrics.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhuji and Mataji, for your beautiful recitations. Thank you.
Thank
So,
you.
Thank you very much. So, dear devotees, I'm Sriji Kishori Devidasi, and I'm just waiting for Srilalita Susevini Mataji to to host the meeting, I should say, to facilitate tonight's meeting, but she hasn't joined us yet. So, whilst waiting for Mataji to join, I'll recite the opening prayer. You can all join me behind muted mics. Let's put our hands together. Let's pray very sincerely. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasadi Gora Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Mataji, thank you so much.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hope you're well, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you. Thank you for everyone for joining, and thank you for the Sanskrit and English translations also. Hare Krishna. So I will share my screen. We are going to discuss chapter 23 of third canto, Devahuti's Lamentation, and it's a very nice chapter. Chapter 23. Before we do that, Mataji has done prayers also, but I'll also do some prayers to the Acharyas. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. Srinavatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridantha Stoya Bhadrani Vidhunoti Suharatsatam नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः मुखं करोति वचलं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारणं हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna. So chapter 13, Devahuti's lamentation. So until now if we go back and we look at the chapters, so we were here. The conversation between Manu and Kardama, chapter 21. And then chapter 22, the marriage of Kardama Muni and Devahuti, how it happened, what was the process, who was Kardama Muni, who is Devahuti, both are great personalities in our ancient times. Devahuti is the daughter of Swayambhuva Manu, Kardama Muni is a great sage. And here we see that the marriage has happened, and in chapter 22, the marriage has happened now. And Devati happily married Kardama Muni. And why this chapter's name is Devati's lamentation, we will see that also. And what is Devati's lamentation and what happened with Devati and how the story continues, and then it actually becomes a pastime and something that we all can learn from, and so many reflections and important lessons are in this pastime of Kardama Muni and Devati. And how the Lord actually then comes and takes birth and incarnates and descends and enlightens his mother and the whole world. So that is how Krishna is going to uncover it. So today's verses, if we see, let's read them and then we will go back to the previous verses also, what happened till now. So 3.23.7. ये मे स्वधर्मनिरस्त्य तपः समाधि विद्याम योग विजिता भगवत्प्रसादः तानेव ते मद अनुसेवन्या वरुद्धान् दृष्टिं प्रपश्य वितरम्य अभ्यानशोकान्. Translation. Kardama Muni continued. I have achieved the blessings of the Lord in discharging my own religious life of austerity, meditation, and Krishna consciousness. Although you have not yet experienced these achievements, which are free from fear and lamentation, I shall offer them all to you because you are engaged in my service. Now just look at them. I am giving you the transcendental vision to see how nice they are. Purport. Would anyone like to read purport, first paragraph? Any volunteers?
Hare Krishna Mataji, can I please read?
Yes, Mataji, thank you.
Thank you. Devahuti engaged only in the service of Kardama Muni. She was not supposed to be so advanced in austerity, ecstasy, meditation, or Krishna consciousness, but imperceptibly she was sharing her husband's achievements, which she could neither see nor experience. Automatically, she achieved these graces of the Lord. Should I continue?
Yes, Mataji.
Thank you. What are the graces of the Lord? It is stated here that the graces of the Lord are abhaya, free from fearfulness. In the material world, if someone accumulates $1 million, he is always full of fear because he is always thinking, what if the money is lost? But the benediction of the Lord, Bhagavata Prasada, is never to be lost. It is simply to be enjoyed. There is no question of loss. One simply gains and enjoys gaining. But Bhagavad Gita also confirms this. When one achieves the grace of the Lord, the result is that sarva dukkhani, all distresses are destroyed. When situated in the transcendental position, one is freed from the two kinds of material diseases, hankering and lamentation. This is also stated in Bhagavad Gita. All devotional life begins we can achieve the full result of love of Godhead. Love of Krishna is the highest perfection of Bhagavata Prasada or divine mercy. This transcendental achievement is so greatly valuable that no material happiness can compare to it. Prabodhananda Saraswati said that if one achieves the grace of Lord Chaitanya, he becomes so great that he does not care a fig, even for the demigods. He thinks of monism as hellish, and for him the perfection of controlling the senses is as easy as anything. Heavenly pleasures become to him no more than stories. Actually, there is no comparison between material happiness and transcendental happiness.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Anyone else want to read last paragraph? Any volunteers?
I can read, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji.
By the grace of Kardana Muni, Devahuti experienced actual realization simply by serving. We get a similar example in the life of Narad Muni in his previous life. Narad was a maidservant's son, but his mother was engaged in the service of great devotees. He got the opportunity to serve the devotees, and simply by eating the remnants of their foodstuff and carrying out their orders, he became so elevated that in his next life, he became the great personality Narad. For spiritual achievement, the easiest path is to take the shelter of a bona fide spiritual master and to serve him with heart and soul. That is the secret of success. As stated by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his 8 stanzas of prayer to the spiritual master, Yashya Prasada Bhagavad Prasada, by serving or receiving the grace of the spiritual master, one receives the grace of the Supreme Lord. By serving her devotee husband, Kadama Muni, Devahuti shared in his achievements. Similarly, a sincere disciple, simply by serving a bona fide spiritual master, can achieve all the mercy of the Lord and the spiritual master simultaneously. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. 3.23.8 Anye punar bhagavato bhruva udvijambra vibhramashitarha rachana kim urukramasya siddhasi bhunchva vibhavan nija dharma dohan divyan narer duradhikan nripa vikriyabhihi. Translation. Kardama Muni continued, what is the use of enjoyments other than the Lord's grace? All material achievements are subject to be annihilated simply by a movement of the eyebrows of Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By your principles of devotion to your husband, you have achieved and can enjoy transcendental gifts very rarely obtained by persons proud of aristocracy and material possessions. Purport. Anyone wants to read? Okay, no.
Shall I read, Mataji?
Okay, yes, Mataji.
Lord Chaitanya recommended that the greatest achievement of human life is to achieve the grace of the Lord, love of God. He said, Param Purmatho Mahana. To achieve love of Godhead is the highest perfection of life. The same perfection is recommended by Kardama Muni to his wife. His wife belongs to a very aristocratic royal family. Generally, those who are very materialistic or who possess material wealth and prosperity are unable to appreciate the value of transcendental love of God. Although Devhuti was a princess coming from a very great royal family, fortunately she was under the supervision of her great husband Kardama Muni, who offered her the best gift which can be bestowed in human life, the grace of the Lord or love of God. This grace of the Lord was achieved by Devhuti by goodwill and satisfaction of her husband. She served her husband, who was a great devotee and saintly person with great sincerity, love, affection, and service. And Kadama Muni was satisfied. He willingly gave love of God, and he recommended her she accept it and enjoy it because he had already achieved it. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Love of God is not an ordinary commodity. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was worshipped by Rupa Goswami because he distributed love of God, Krishna Prema, to everyone. Rupa Goswami praised him as Mahavadanyaya, a greatly munificent personality, because he was freely distributing to everyone love of Godhead, which is achieved by wise men only after many, many births. Krishna Prema, Krishna consciousness, is the highest gift which can be bestowed on anyone whom we presume to love. One word used in this word, Nijadharma Dohan, is very significant. Devahuti, as the wife of Kardama Muni, achieved an invaluable gift from her husband because she was very faithful to him. For a woman, the first principle of religion is to be faithful to her husband. If fortunately the husband is a great personality, then the combination is perfect, and the lives of both wife and husband are at once fulfilled. Hare Krishna. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji, for reading the translations. Excuse me. Devahuti's lamentation. So, just going back to the previous 6 verses, so that we know where the pastime is flowing and where it is. So, Maitreya, it is a conversation between Maitreya and Vidura. So, Maitreya is saying, after the departure of her parents, the chaste woman Devahuti, so her parents, Devahuti's parents, Swayambhuva Manu and Satyavati, who could understand the desires of her husband, served him constantly with great love, as Bhavani, the wife of Lord Shiva, served her husband. So, after we know that Devahuti's father himself was very austere and very, he was an emperor, Swayambhuva Manu, and despite of having all the opulences, he was very, very devoted to the Lord, and he was very humble, kind, and sincere, and never misused his powers. So he was a very great, not only a great emperor and a devotee, but also a very nice example of a very good example of a father, both he and his wife. So they took this thing as very serious, that they have to find a suitable partner for their daughter, and hence, with Lord's arrangement, Lord knew what Swayambhuva Manu wanted, and Lord arranged this divine couple to actually meet Devahuti and Kardama Muni. And therefore Devahuti got married. So Devahuti understood the desires of her husband, served him constantly with great love, as Bhavani, the wife of Lord Shiva, serves her husband. So it is mentioned here that how what should be attitude of a wife, how a wife should actually, what kind of husband a wife should actually desire, not just materially. Prabhupada says in the purports also, not just materially elevated and materially having all kind of commodities and very equipped with material designations and name and fame, but we should also see what are the qualities of the husband. Like here, the qualities specifically mentioned are that a person who is devoted to the Lord, a person who wants to please the Lord. Because of that quality of the husband, the wife will get to serve such husband, and then she will also get liberated, or she will also get elevated because of serving such a husband. So she understood the desires of her husband, and her husband's desire, he was already a devotee, he was a great Mahatma. So she knew about her husband's good qualities also, and she praised that, she appreciated that, and she served him constantly with great love. Just like example of Bhavani, like Parvati, the wife of Lord Shiva, serves her husband with great devotion. That is we also know from most of the Hindu families also, we know that the young girls, they worship Lord Shiva and they worship Parvati, so that they can also get a husband like Lord Shiva. So here when I say a husband like Lord Shiva, it doesn't mean like opulent like Lord Shiva, but it means a devotee, a Vaishnava like Lord Shiva. The devotion that Lord Shiva has towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that kind of quality we should aspire for. O Vidura, then the Maitreya Muni goes on to say, Devoti served her husband with intimacy and great respect, with control of her senses, with love and sweet words. So here it is explained in the purport also. Prabhupada says that this is how a wife should serve her husband, with great respect. Even though the husband doesn't have the quality spiritually, also sometimes we see in some families the quality spiritual qualities, the wife may be more elevated than the husband, or maybe she has more devotion, or she is more dedicated to the Lord as compared to the husband. But then also she should not make her husband feel inferior, that I'm superior than you in knowledge and in devotion, and look at my qualities, you don't have. So that should not be done. But whatever good qualities the husband has, they should always be given respect. So that is one of the quality of a good wife like Devahuti, that great respect should be given to the husband, even though he is not elevated. Then also that is the duty of the wife, to show respect towards the husband, and with control of the senses and with love and sweet words. So it's not just the husband's duty to take the wife towards the Lord, but a wife can also take that responsibility, that sweetly, lovingly, using right words, and with great respect, if we treat the husband in a nice way, and then automatically the qualities of the love and devotion towards the Lord will be reflected in the relationship between the husband and wife. And then and of the senses will actually be utilized in praising the Lord, and in devotion towards the Lord. And obviously with that kind of energy and that kind of aura, the husband will also be actually, he will be encouraged and inspired towards the Lord. So that is also one of the qualities. And I think it is also somewhere in the purport mentioned. Prabhupada very nicely mentioned here that a man's psychology and a woman's psychology are different. As constituted by bodily frame, man always wants to be superior as compared to the wife. Thus, the natural instinct is that husband wants to pose himself superior to the wife, and this must be observed. Even if there is some wrong part on the husband, the wife must tolerate it, and thus there will be no misunderstanding between husband and wife. So, very nicely Prabhupada explained, and it shouldn't be taken in a wrong way. These are the qualities actually in the scriptures only that we must actually try to learn. Vishwarambhena, there are two qualities mentioned in this here, Vishwarambhena and Vishwarambhen, and there was one more, Gauravena. So Vishwarambhen means with intimacy. It must not be familiarity that breeds contempt. According to Vedic civilization, wife cannot call her husband by name. So we see these days that the wife calls the husband by their first names, and just because they think that they are in the same level, they are friends, so they can call. But actually that is not encouraged in the Vedic scriptures also. It shouldn't. It is said that when we call them by their name, it is disrespectful also, and it reduces their lifespan. So there, it is also mentioned in the scriptures. Thus the inferiority and superiority complexes are recognized. the manager, a wife has to learn to control herself even if there is a misunderstanding. Again, tolerance is coming again and again, that we should be tolerant. Suhradena vacha madhurya means always desiring good for the husband and speaking with him to him with sweet words, because there are sometimes ego clashes happen, and especially these days, and women try to overpower, or women try to control, or try to show that no, they know more, they are more intelligent, they are more spiritually elevated, and then they make the husband look inferior in front of them, which should actually not be done, because that then puts the relationship into a very it becomes in really not so very harmonious when we do that. So in order to keep it harmonious also and god centered, we must learn to cultivate those good qualities also. And Bhagavad Gita also says that, in Krishna says that among women I am sweet speech, also intelligence, beauty. So all these good qualities in the women are actually Krishna's qualities, Krishna himself. So women are men. Wife should always desire good for the husband and speaking with him in sweet words with him. A person becomes agitated by so many material contacts in outside world. Therefore, the home is the only place where they should be treated with sweet words. So that is what Prabhupada is saying, that at least when someone comes from work and they're tired and they expect that there must be someone at home who can speak nicely and sweetly with them, listen to them, and that is how the relationship becomes even more friendly um, and nourishing to each other. So yeah, working sanely and diligently, she pleased her very powerful husband, giving up all lust, pride, envy, greed, sinful activities, and vanity. So in the next verse, we can see that she was actually very, very dedicated to Kardama Muni, and how she pleased her. She didn't do anything special. She just sticked to what actually scriptures said, and how qualities of a wife should be. She was actually following that naturally. Although coming from a very pious and very opulent and very rich family, she had no pride about being coming from a very even more richer family as compared to Kardama Muni, and having a very strong background. She did not make Kardama Muni feel that ways, and she always kept herself in a humble and lower position in front of Kardama Muni. She pleased her very powerful husband, like spiritually very powerful husband, giving up all lust, pride, envy, greed, sinful activities. So she was actually very, very husband, and she understood her position, that she is married now, and what is her position, to be humble and to be dedicated and serve such a great devotee of the Lord. That was her position. She understood that very well. So there were good values imbibed in her, given by her parents. So here Prabhupada says the wife should not be proud of her parental position. She must always be submissive to her husband and must give up all vanity. As soon as wife becomes proud of her parentage, her pride creates misunderstandings between husband and wife, and their life is ruined actually. So very nice, good points to learn for all of us from this pastime and from Prabhupada's realizations in the purport also. Devahuti was very careful about all these things, and therefore it is said that she gave up the pride completely. Devahuti was not unfaithful, and the most sinful activity for a wife is to accept another husband. Here in the translation it says she gave up sinful activities. So what it means here is, most sinful activity for a wife is to accept another husband or another lover. So she was very, very faithful in this regard. Chanakya Pandit has described 4 kinds of enemy at home. Very important point here. If a father is in debt, he is considered to be an enemy, because then the family will be suffering. If a mother has selected another husband in the presence of her grown-up children, she is to be considered an enemy also, because now she has to take care of the husband and the family and expand in the way she has to give values to the children. So if she herself starts looking for another partner and the children are grown up, what will the children learn? So she is also then considered as an enemy, because the values will not be built in the children. Looking at the mother, if a wife does not live well with the husband but deals very roughly, then she's an enemy. So wife is also an enemy if she's always angry, she's always shouting, she's always unhappy with the husband and never praising, never using sweet words, dealing very roughly with him, then she is also considered an enemy. If a son is a fool, then he's also considered to be an enemy. So son is a fool means he is doing whimsical things, anything on his own, doesn't obey the parents, doesn't obey elders, and if the values are not there, then he is also considered to be an enemy, because he will use up all the money, the parents hard earned money, and it will be ruined, or it will be utilized in anything which is not even helping him to achieve God or love of God. So in family life, father, mother, wife, and children are all assets. But if the wife or mother accepts another husband in the presence of her husband or son, then according to Vedic civilization, she is considered to be an enemy. So a chaste and faithful woman must not practice adultery. That is a great sin. So very nicely Prabhupada has also mentioned these good qualities, that, and it's very privilege for us to be reading and to be knowing all these through Bhagavatam. Then in verses 4th and 5th, the daughter of Manu, who was fully devoted to her husband, looked upon him as greater even than the providence. She expected great blessings from him. So she actually, before marrying only, she knew where she's going to get married to a very great personality and a devotee, and she actually was looking up to him with great reverence, respect, that I will serve this person and I will get his blessings. Having served him for a long time, she grew weak and emaciated due to her religious observation. She was serving him for a long, long time, and she was not even looking after her body, her beauty, and not looking after her health, because she was so much into serving and looking at after little things about Kardama Muni, that he should be comfortable, he should get everything on time, he should be devoted to the Lord and towards his practice. So she was looking after him very nicely, to an extent that she started to become weak because she was neglecting herself. Seeing her condition, Kardama, the foremost of celestial sages, was overcome with compassion and spoke to her in a voice choked with great love. So after he realized, Kardama Muni, after some time, when he could see that the wife has grown so weak now, and has lost all her beauty and all the charm, he became very actually compassionate and very he was feeling sorry for her, looking at her, and his voice choked up with great love towards her, because he could see how much she was serving. Just like when we serve our spiritual master with all heart and all love, and we serve a great sannyasi or a devotee of the Lord, they become they feel the same way actually when they see a disciple being so hardworking towards serving them. Then they also bestow them with benedictions, and they bless them, they pleased with them, and this is also a form of test for the disciple. So in the same way, when Kardama Muni saw Devahuti's situation, her physical health also, he became very compassionate, and his voice choked, and he then started saying these following words. Kardama Muni said, "O respectful daughter of Swayambhuva Manu." So he is so respectful towards her, that respectful daughter of Swayambhuva Manu. He knew that she comes from a very good background, but respectful daughter, he's using words, because she gained that respect not through her lineage, but she gained the respect through her character, through her values. So the respect came from his heart. O respectful daughter of Swayambhuva Manu, today I'm very much pleased with you for your great devotion and most excellent loving service. So finally, he was observing for years and years and years, and finally the day came when he had to reward her, and when he had to show that now he couldn't stop himself from praising and respecting her for what she was doing. He was just observing for some time, and then finally, when he thought that now is the time when I should share my feelings, he started saying that for your great devotion, he been observing the devotional devotion towards him, that Devhuti was doing. She was not directly devoting towards the Lord, but she was devoting towards a great devotee of the Lord, and she was serving a great devotee of the Lord. She was not a good, well versed in scriptures, or knowing all the scriptures, or knowing all the shlokas, or knowing all the mantras. She was not doing any of them. She was just solely, completely dedicated to Kardama Muni. And so then Kardama Muni said, "Your excellent loving service," and he praised him. Since the body is so dear to the embodied beings, so we all are attached to our bodies. We all will say that this is my house, this is my wife, my husband, my parents, my job, my role, my position, my this, my that. What is that my? That my is nothing but the body, because we identify ourselves as the body. So he knew, Kardama Muni, being very intelligent and knowledgeable, he said that since the body is so dear to embodied beings, we all are so much, our activities are surrounded, are done against our bodies. I mean, surrounded, we do activities to please our body and senses. He knew the value of body in this world. And he said that since the body is so dear, I am astonished that you have neglected your body to use it on my behalf. So he was so surprised that she, being a woman also, it's so much important for a woman to look beautiful, to decorate herself. These are the qualities of a woman. And she was young, newly married and all. And she was completely neglecting everything just so that she could serve her husband nicely. And that is actually the values that she was carrying. And because of that, Kardama Muni was pleased, and he praised her with these words. Kardama Muni continued, "I have achieved the blessings of Lord in discharging my own religious life of austerity, meditation, and Krishna consciousness. Although you have not experienced these achievements, which are free from fear and lamentation, I shall offer them all to you because you are engaged in my service. Now just look at them. I'm giving you the transcendental vision to see how nice they are." So Kardama Muni was so pleased after being served by Devahuti, and who was coming from a very nice background also, but not thinking about any pride, any envy, any greed, anything else, or not. She was not wanting to get anything out of that, but all she wanted is to wholeheartedly serve a pure devotee of the Lord. And all she was lamenting, all she was wanting was no material opulence or to make her kingdom big or anything. All she was wanting is the love of God through serving a devotee of the Lord. And that is what Prabhupada also says in purport, in previously verses in the purports, that people think that they have got a lot of material opulence, and they keep doing punyas, they keep doing austerities, they keep doing charities and punya, so that they can gain in the next life, and they keep whatever they've accumulated, it continues to come back to them in the next life. So that's how they save, especially those who know about karma kand section of the Vedas. They would continue doing that. But intelligent person is who? The most intelligent person are those who actually crave for not material opulence and punyas, who crave for Krishna prema. And the only way that we can get Krishna prema is not through any punyas, or is not through any other kind of charity. The only way we can get Krishna prema is by accumulating, by being greedy to get Krishna prema. So here we can see that Devahuti, although she was not intentionally, she didn't intentionally plan that this is what she want, but somewhere her whatever desire she had was to serve Kardama Muni, who was a devotee of the Lord. She was actually being greedy, and she was actually pushed towards Krishna prema, although not doing it with that intention, but she still got the benefits because the intention was to serve the devotee of the Lord. Imagine, without having that intention, if we have the intention and greed to serve the Lord, to please the Lord, then how much it is going to actually give us the love of God, because the only way to get love of God is to become greedy for love of God. So here Kadma Muni is saying that I am doing everything. I'm doing all the religious practices very nicely, discharging my own religious life and austerity. I've got blessings through doing all of them, meditating and doing Krishna consciousness activities, but you have not done any of them. Although you have not experienced any achievements, none of them, that I have done, but I will, because you've served me, I shall offer them all to you, the results, or whatever austerity, whatever I have accumulated through my practice, religious life, I want to offer that to you. I want you to see what it is, what it looks like. So he was so pleased that he wanted her to become happy, beautiful, and get all the blessings that that he was actually not asking for. But being a devotee of the Lord and husband, he wanted now to please her by. He was very pleased by looking at her devotion. So Kardama Muni said, what is the use of enjoying enjoyments other than the Lord's grace? All material achievements are subject to be annihilated simply by a movement of eyebrows of Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By your principles of devotion to your husband, you have achieved and can enjoy transcendental gifts very rarely obtained by persons proud of aristocracy and material possessions. So, excuse me. So Kardama Muni is actually, this is a lesson for all of us, that that what is the use of enjoyment other than Lord's grace? What will we do of all these enjoyments which are going to end one day, which is not going to go with us, which is temporary? This body and everything pertaining to this body is temporary. So an intelligent person will use this body in the service of the Lord, because these material achievements, all the material achievements will end here with the body, and then we have to start the process again from scratch, from birth, or youth, adulthood, old age, and death. Everything will come back again and again in the blink. And here it says movement of the eyebrows of Lord Vishnu, so which means it will come to an end. But by your principles of devotion to your husband, you have achieved and you can enjoy transcendental gifts very rarely obtained. So, very nice point here. If we go into the translations also, by serving a husband who is discharging his duties very nicely in devotional service, the wife gets the benefit of that too, because she is serving him. And Prabhupada says, Devahuti engaged only in the service of Kardama Muni. She was not supposed to be advanced in austerity. Like we said, she was not doing any of that. But because she was serving her husband, she was sharing her husband's achievement. It is also said that by serving a devotee or by serving a husband, even if they are not devotee, the wife actually gets the 50% of the 50% of his punya, and the husband gets 50% of the we can say sinful, the fruits of sins that the wife has done. So actually the husband's achievements are actually shared. Wife gets more share of the good karma, or we can say punya, of the husband. So here Devahuti is also serving a devotee, and she's also serving a husband. So she is actually sharing what the husband's achievement are. So automatically when we serve the husband, especially if they are all practicing devotional service, practicing their duties properly, they automatically achieve the grace of the Lord through their through performing their prescribed duties. What are the graces of the Lord? It is stated here that the graces of the Lord are abhaya, free from fearfulness. In material world, if someone accumulates $1 million, he's full of fear. Very nice point, that he's full of fear. Fear of what? Fear of losing that. Fear of losing everything at some point. Fear of death. They still have fear, because he's always thinking, what if my money is lost? But for someone who is the devotee of the Lord, as Bhagavad Gita also says, when one achieves the grace of the Lord, the result is sarva dukhani, all distresses are destroyed, because now he knows that the maintainer of the world and the maintainer of all this $1 million is my Lord. So what do I have to be worried about? Nothing. I have Lord's grace. I don't need anything else, because he is just testing us. He's just seeing what are we going to how are we going to use our lives? What are we going to do with the money that we've been given? So when situated in transcendental position, one is freed from two kinds of material diseases, hankering and lamentation. We don't hanker, we don't lament. And that happens over the time. Some people say that I'm doing 16 rounds, I'm following 4 regulative principles, I'm doing everything, I'm reading the scriptures, I'm reading Bhagavatam, I'm doing so much, but nothing is happening. The prema is not happening. The hankering and lamentation is not going away. It's still in the heart. when will the day come? When will I see the results? Prabhupada says, don't just keep doing what you're doing. You don't have to give up. And that is the practice. That is something that we have to take responsibility of, that we don't have to stop. We have to just continue. The more we do, the more greed will develop for love of God. And that is and that is the only way that we can achieve the love of God. And that is the only way that one day the hankerings and lamentation will actually go away. We will not think about it. Our mind will become so fixed. These processes of devotional service, the nishtha will come, and the asakti will come, nishtha will come, prema will come ultimately, if we are constant in our vaidya sadhana bhakti. If we constantly do that without even if problems come, even if we fall down, we still have to get up and we still have to continue from where we have whatever has to happen to us. The Bhagavad Gita also says that even if one performs the most abominable action, he is still to be considered saintly because he is fixed in his devotion. So Krishna only says this, that even if it happens by mistake, some sinful activities because of our conditioning of previous life or conditioning of 10, 15 years that we were, since our childhood, we've done so many sinful activities. But if someone has taken to Krishna consciousness and by mistake, because of his conditioning of those 10, 15 years, he does something that he had been doing, but now he's come to devotional service, he will still be considered saintly because mistakes will happen, but we shouldn't do them intentionally. So the reason why I'm saying this is that we should not worry about that my heart still has hankering, lamentation, all these anarthas. It will go away gradually if we are consistently performing devotional service and not stopping no matter what. Prabodhananda Saraswati, he was a devotee, and he actually took to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, and he used to give lectures on Srimad Bhagavatam also. He used to spread the glories of the Lord. He said, if one achieves the grace of Lord Chaitanya, he becomes so great that he doesn't care a fig even for the demigods. He thinks of monism as hellish, and for him the perfection of controlling the senses is as easy as anything. Heavenly pleasures become to him no more than stories. Actually, there is no comparison between material happiness and transcendental happiness. So he is just saying, Prabodhananda Saraswati is saying that one who has received the grace of Lord Chaitanya and one who knows about the glories of the holy name, who chants Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, he doesn't worry about, he doesn't care about the stories of heaven. Like there are so many saintly people, or we can say there's so many saints or sadhus or different kind of practitioners who are trying to achieve liberation, or who have followed some other method of liberation also. Actually, at some point there are distractions, and they are distraction, and they would want to go to the heavens, they would want to taste that, and they would want to get rid of this miserable life. But for a devotee, they don't care about that. They don't care about heaven. They don't think about heaven. There is nothing in their diary. There is no word like heaven in their diary, because they are purely dedicated to the Supreme Lord, and they don't want that temporary monetary material gain. They don't care about that. So that's what Prabhupada Saraswati is saying. By the grace of Kardama Muni, Devotee experienced actual realization simply by serving his her husband. And we also have another story of Narada Muni that we all know, that Narad Muni is another example, because in his previous life he was a maid servant's son, and his mother was engaged in service of the devotees, and they were very elevated devotees, and she used to serve them. And because of her mother's service to them, Narad Muni also got to serve these devotees, and he got the opportunities to eat the remnants of the foodstuff. And because of those remnants that he had been eating for months and months and months, his consciousness became pure, and he got all that Sukriti also. And because of that, now we see him as Narad Muni. He became Narad Muni in his next life. So which means that the secret of success in devotional service is what? Serving the pure devotee of the Lord, serving the Vaishnavas, getting their blessings. And if someone is fortunate to get a husband, like like a devotee, like in this case we see Kardama Muni. Kardama Muni was actually a spiritual master, just like a spiritual master to Devahuti, and because of him she also got back to Godhead. Um, so yeah, so for us we have spiritual master, we have Srila Prabhupada as a pure devotee in our lives, and if we follow his instruction, if we read his books, if we follow on his footsteps, then definitely we are also serving his Vani. If not Vapu, we are serving his Vani and serving our gurus. Yes, and Kardama Muni then he actually kept glorifying Devahuti, and he's giving us very nice example of how our devotional service, how serving a devotee can be so so much significant for our devotional service also. One word used here in this verse is Nij Dharma Dohan. So Devahuti, as the wife of Kardama Muni, achieved an invaluable gift from her husband because she was very faithful to him. For a woman, the first principle of religion is to be faithful to her husband. If fortunately the husband is great personality, then combination is perfect, and the life of both husband and wife is fulfilled. And in later verses, we will see later verses that now after hearing her husband, husband is glorifying Devahuti, and Devahuti is actually Devahuti is actually asking some benediction from Kardama Muni, and we will read that. What did she ask? She asked that what was her desire and what she wanted, and how Kardama Muni, out of love and compassion, and he was so pleased that he gave a whole palace to Devahuti where she could enjoy, and she became beautiful again. She was looked after again, and she got back her glow, and she was decorated beautifully, and she used to live in that big palace, beautiful palace, and for many, many, many years they both resided in that palace. And then she had this desire to desire for children. She had that desire, she expressed that desire. Now that she served for so many years, she expressed her desire to Kardama Muni, and Kardama Muni fulfilled that desire. And then we will read in the next verses that so many years passed, living in that opulent palace, and then Kardama Muni realized that he has to go back now. Where he left his devotional service, also he has to go back, return. But and then how the conversation carried on, and what Devahuti said, and then she got daughters, and she desired for a son also. And then this is how we're going to see that how we get entangled in one little material desire comes into our heart, and then we get entangled into this cycle of coming back. And in this sense gratification also, we will not realize when the time will come, when the end time will come. And so yeah, it's very nice pastime which will actually give us uncover many truths of this material world also. With that, I will stop with today's verses, and we will continue from the following after maybe after one day. Hare Krishna. If there is any question, any comments, any reflections, please share, and please forgive me if I've said anything which was not aligned with the scriptures. I'm learning as well, like you. Hare Krishna. Anyone wants to share their reflections? Have you heard about the Devahuti and Kardama Muni's pastime before?
Yes,
I know
Mataji,
Mataji first time.
Hare Krishna Prabhu?
Yeah, it's no, I heard of it in this detail. Hare Krishna.
Oh, okay.
It's
Okay.
very nice, very nice. 50.
Thank you for sharing, Prabhu. Yes, one of this pastime is used many in various ways, so that we can learn different parts like duties of a wife, duties of grihastha of duties of a husband, and all that, like material, how our desires can actually make us stay in this material world for longer than we were actually supposed to. And so many things, so many points are covered in this particular chapter and this story. So it's very nice to read it. Hare Krishna. Anything else? Anyone else wants to share? If not, then we will end today's session. Thank you so much. Thank you for your presence. Hare Krishna. Vanshkalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo
Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai. God bless.
Brilliant class, Mataji. Thank you so much. Thank you. Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji, for that wonderful class. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Lovely class.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Hare Bol.